Hi, my name is Randy Person. I'm the police chief for the city of Xenia. I've lived in Greene County and Xenia all of my life. I graduated from the Xenia Community Schools. My wife and I raised two sons here who also graduated from the Xenia Community Schools. Right now, I need a couple minutes of your time to explain why Issue 7 is necessary to keep Xenia safe. Issue 7 is a request for a 0.5% increase in our city income tax rate going from 1 3/4% to 2 1/4%. This rate increase is on earned income and is only paid by people who are employed. It is not generally applied to people's retirement income, and it's not a property tax. Why is this tax necessary? Well, you have to go back in history a little bit and look at 2003. In 2003, Xenia, like many communities, was hit with a recession. And like most communities, and you and your personal budget, and most businesses, when a recession hits, we all make cuts. We cut our operating expenses, we cut our capital expenses and put those off. And that wasn't actually enough in 2003. So in addition to that, we ended up cutting 9 staff positions, 3 police officers, and 3 firefighters for a total of 15 positions. Now, that's typically what we do in a recession, and we did it then. The problem is, in the ensuing years, in 2004, 2005, 6, 7, and so on, we didn't have a recovery like many areas around us did, and we weren't able to replace those persons. We weren't able to replace the operating funds and those types of things. So when the recession came again in 2009, it really hit the city of Xenia hard. In 2009, as we prepared the budget for 2010, we realized we were going to have to make more drastic cuts to balance the budget. And the city was prepared to do that. And as we looked at it, we realized we were going to have to cut 9 additional staff persons. We were going to have to cut 6 police officers and 6 firefighters. Not wanting to do that without talking to the citizens and seeing if they'd be willing to pay a higher tax, we asked the unions if they would step up and take a concession on their wages for 2009 and 2010 that would keep us from having to lay off those 6 police officers and those 6 firefighters. And those unions did step up, and they did make those wage concessions, so we're where we are now. We're coming to you to ask you what you want us to do about the future. As we balanced that budget for this year, we did have to make those additional 9 layoffs from our staff positions. So we no longer have a Parks and Rec position. You know, at one point we had 3 people in the engineering fund. There's only 1 person there. We don't have a public service director, and we used to have a public service director. Our assistant city manager now acts in that position. If you look at our street department, in 2003, we had 12 men who worked on the streets in this community, took care of the parks, filled the potholes, and did all those things that kept our streets up to where we thought they should be. Today, we're limited to 3 street workers and a supervisor. We have cut everything that we can cut. There is nowhere else that we can go. So we have to come to you. The only place left to cut is safety services. We did not start with safety services. We have literally cut everything that we can cut except safety services at this point. If additional funding is not approved by our citizens on May 4th, the following will occur. We will lose 6 firefighters, and the fire station will close by the end of the year, if not sooner. We've already lost 2 of the 6 police officers because they've taken other positions. And if the levy doesn't pass next Tuesday, we will lose 4 additional officers. And this will take us down to 39 officers. Now, the last time we had 39 officers was in 1976, which happened to be the year that I was hired as a dispatcher for the city of Xenia. And I will tell you, the city was very different in 1976 than it is today. In 1976, it covered about 8.5 square miles versus about 13 square miles today. In 1976, the population was about 24,000 versus about 27,000 today. We have more calls today than we did then. On the fire side, we have many more ambulance calls than we did back then. If you look just last year alone, 208 times we had to call outside departments to come in and cover our ambulance calls, our ambulance services. Now, normally you would call that mutual aid, but it's not mutual aid when we're calling them 4 times for every 1 time they're calling us. And we're just not carrying our load. If we make these cuts, and we have to close Station 2, more and more times when we need that 2nd and 3rd ambulance, we're just not going to have the firefighters that are going to be able to respond. We're just not going to have the police officers who are going to be able to come out on emergency 911 calls. We've already cut our school resource officer. We've already cut our internet program. We've already made cuts in many of our other programs, domestic violence shelter, the drug task force. If this fails next Tuesday, I'm going to be forced to cut my DARE program, which will be the last program that we have in the schools. Us not having contact with the students of the Xenia community school system on a daily basis really is something that I just don't want to see happen. On May 4th, the residents will have an opportunity to vote on our city's future with Issue 7. In my 34 years with the city, this is the worst financial crisis that I've ever seen. Issue 7 is the key to our safety and our future. It will maintain vital services, and there are no extras in what we're asking for. Without Issue 7, citizens will see a drastic reduction in services that they receive from the city, mainly in our safety forces at this point, because we've cut everything else. This is something that none of us can afford. So next Tuesday, cast your vote and tell us what future you wish for the city of Xenia. If you would like additional information or would like something fun for kids and adults alike to do, the Xenia Fire Divisions will be holding an open house at City Hall and Fire Station on East Main Street from 2 to 5 p.m. this coming Saturday, May 1st. If you have any other questions, you can always call the city manager's office and they will be glad to ask any questions that you have. Finally, help us to help you keep Xenia safe. Thank you for